For thousands of years, the Nile River has cradled one of the most fascinating civilizations in human history. Ancient Egypt, a land of monumental temples, enigmatic gods, and the eternal promise of the afterlife. But among its many mysteries, one practice continues to capture the imagination of the world more than any other: mummification. It wasn't merely a funerary custom. No, it was a spiritual journey, a sacred passage, a carefully orchestrated reserve the soul's vessel for eternity. And it all began with the desert. You see, the earliest mummies weren't wrapped in linens or buried in stone tombs. They were preserved naturally, by the sand, by the heat, by time itself. Bodies laid to rest in the open desert remained intact for centuries. No human hand, no sacred chant, just nature. But as Egypt rose from scattered tribes to a kingdom of gold and gods, so too did their understanding of death. They came to believe that the body must be preserved deliberately, not by the elements, but by ritual. And thus began the long, sacred evolution of the embalmer's art. It was a craft, passed down through generations, carried out by men who were not just morticians, but priests, healers, gatekeepers to eternity. The ritual began with purification, the body washed with water from the Nile, the river that gave Egypt life. Then came the most sacred and dangerous task, the removal of the internal organs. A small incision carefully cut, the stomach, the liver, the lungs, the intestines, each gently drawn out, each placed in its own canopic jar, guarded by a god. The heart, the very seat of emotion, thought, and judgment, was often left in place, for it would be weighed in the halls of the afterlife. But the brain was a different matter entirely. With a long hook, it was drawn out through the nose, a horrifying image to us, but to the Egyptians, the brain held no eternal purpose. What mattered was the face, the form, the vessel. Next, the body was filled with natron, a powerful salt drawn from Egypt's land. Then it was left to dry for 40 days. In that time, every drop of moisture, the enemy of preservation, was drawn out. And when the waiting ended, the ritual began again. The body was washed, anointed with sacred oils, and then wrapped, not hastily, not carelessly, lovingly, deliberately, completely. Each finger, each toe wrapped in fine linen, between the folds, amulets, prayers, spells from the book of the dead to guide the soul beyond. Pause, let the weight of history sink in. Once wrapped, a mask was placed upon the face, plaster, painted, or gold reflecting the soul's ideal form in the next world. Then came the final step, burial. But not all Egyptians could afford this sacred farewell. The poor, the common people, they were buried in sand or simple cloth. Some not buried at all. And yet, whether rich or poor, they all hoped for the same thing: immortality. Mummification changed. It evolved. It became an art of astonishing detail, so precise that even today we can see their faces, their tattoos, their very expressions, but nothing lasts forever. As the centuries turned, Christianity rose and Egypt's ancient beliefs began to fade. Mummification was lost, until the world found it again. In the 18th and 19th centuries, Europe became obsessed with Egypt, its ruins, its treasures, and its dead. Mummies were dug up, bought, sold, displayed, and unwrapped for entertainment. Unwrapping parties, elegant salons, crowds cheering as ancient souls were stripped bare. Some say mummies were even burned as fuel to power Egypt's first steam trains. Mark Twain himself claimed to witness it. But history blurs the line between truth and legend. Hopeful, yet still so many endured. Not a few dozen, but millions, across the centuries. Most not kings, not queens, but ordinary men, when children, buried in shallow graves or given to the Nile to be consumed by the sacred crocodiles of Sobek. And yet, through all of this, the legacy lived on, not in flesh but in spirit, in the very idea that death was not an end, it was a beginning. The Egyptians believed that life was but one chapter, that beyond the tomb lay a vast eternal sky, a place among the stars where gods awaited and memories never faded. Thank you for walking this path with me through time, through silence, through death and legacy. Let me know what secrets you'd like to uncover next. To my patrons, your support means more than words. You keep history alive. And if you'd like to help, the link is in the description. Don't forget to subscribe to Katha, where whispers from the past still echo into our world. Until next time, goodbye.